Poems, chapter 18. Short rainbows and gold in the streets. There was a short rainbow in the western sky. It was real wide and had a cloud on top of it and a cloud below it. And it peeked out of those clouds like a wavy test pattern on a Sony Trinitron. I told Mom to look and she turned her head east. She said she didn't see anything. I see lots of things that way. I see them in the West. Things that never were before. Real pretty things. Strange things. Gold laying in the street. When I look at that stuff in the West, people look east. I think I'm turned back to the people I know. That's why they look west when I see east. I'm thinking of having truck mirrors hooked on my sides and reaching around back to the people so I can share my visions, like wavy rainbows and stars and kissing Buddha clouds and gold in the streets. A man wanted to file his claim today. He had seen the light. He had seen the gold in the streets. He had seen a lawyer. He had seen an adjuster. His wages had been lost. The short rainbow in the western sky had drawn him from the paved path and into a ditch with the jumping star and the Buddha clouds. He couldn't work for months, even before this vision of gold in the streets. But now he'd staked his claim. His lawyer had quickly filed it. The adjuster had looked into the eastern sky and had written the check. And that's why this country's great. We Americans have our visions of rainbows, and we just stumble into the golden streets. I thought the short, wavy rainbow was beautiful. Mom finally saw it too. First one in 67 years, she said. She should have seen the jumping stars and the kissing trees and the Buddha clouds and the fat moon that went down in the west in November. The nature of poetry and music. I know a woman who says that poetry is just a hot dick looking for a wet connection. She doesn't use those words, but her meaning is clear. I've heard the same thing said about music by a big shot philosopher from Rice in 1966. He had just split from his wife at 40 and was doing 69 at night with the band's drag. The woman I know is probably right on. It's easy to see the masturbation in Edna's work, even when her lover's dead. It's okay, though, because people got to make love somewhere. And a poem or a song is better than a wet rag. I wonder what it is in a philosopher that could know, along with the woman I know, the essence of poetry and come away smug that they know what you're doing. But I don't know. I want to guess it's a metaphor, like a tall black man with golden watches and fur seat covers and cash, which he got for a song and a rhyme, which he takes home and uses freely till someone rents them from him. Don't get me wrong. I think the woman I know and the Rice philosopher are both right. It's the phonies who dress up to listen and who sell season tickets and always support the arts crap. Those I really respect. They make all of this possible. my peace, my quiet. I'm sick and tired. I'm tired. I'm no longer a driven man. I'm no longer called. I'm just lying here and I'm crying for us all. Everything I ever wanted is just a grasp away. And everything I care about is here, if I could only stay. If I could fight another day. But I'm sick, and I'm tired, and I'm no longer a driven man. I've gone to bed. I've covered my head and shut out the light and the cold. I'm going to rest now. I'm going to bury the life I've slayed. In the morning, I'll be all right. I'll be up and ready to fight. I'll hear the bell from hell, where battles rage unending. I'll join in. I'll go to war again, and then sick. I'll be sick again and tired. I'll be tired until finally I'm never driven, until at last I'm just forgiven. Work. Work? You mean get up in the morning, go someplace you might not want to be, and do stuff piled on the left and piled on the right, and listen to some long-winded coffee breath tell you to get it done by 5, and how about the American way and the Polish work ethic and how wetbacks are taking all the work? No, I don't want work. It's being in the grip. It's the lying to the furnace. It's not what gods do. Ain't we gods? Ain't we the image of what was before anything was? Amen. And more. Eat the fruit from the trees and the grass and the slimy stuff and the sea bass. Lay back out of the grip of fools. Work? No. I don't want any. It's for the grippers and the gripped. It's for the killers and the victims. It's not for the images of God. Come on now, either everything is work and honored, or it's oppression. And death reigns, and death's chosen, the commissioned, the lawgivers, the teachers, the tax collectors, and the enforcers. They keep the grip in the lines to the furnaces, productive to the last breath. Workers redefined, not in God's image. Christmas time. When? When will it all end? When will it begin? When will a gentle touch warm my soul? When will I be told? I saw an owl today far away. Far away. It made me want to pray. It made me want to say, not today, my soul. Not today. There's a sadness here. A sadness that should never be. It's a looking in. A looking in, a reaching out for me. A reaching for the things to be. Now I'm going to schedule the fun. I'll let the whiskey and the water run. I'll let the darkness hide the owls. I'll let the earth open her bowels. Now it's Christmas. Let's have fun. Not really old and sick. When I walk, I stumble a little. I hold onto rails. I touch walls with my fingers. Before I stand, I make sure my weight is over my feet. I don't think I'm old and sick. When I get mad, I say what I think. Sometimes the consequences of my anger are grim. But most of the time, what I say doesn't matter. And those who hear me just laugh. I could be old and sick even if I don't think so. When I sleep, I have bad dreams. Usually I'm driving a car off the road into a highway construction site. I crash through the steel rebar and plunge down a steep embankment. I wake up before the end. I'm not ready to die. not old enough, not yet sick enough. When I think about the things I know, it seems I've stopped learning. I could start again anytime. It's a matter of will, a way to avoid evil. I'm not old and sick. Not really. One of the transcendental attributes of being. Even though a strong faith may carry most of us through every travel, the mystery that upholds that faith is riddled by doubts that a God could possibly be interested in our movements, thoughts, or very short lives. Suppose we just said there are mysteries within mysteries, and by avoid killing ourselves too soon or too late, we can be content that our star stuff can be changed to a better fuel for a future explosion of the star we fly around from 1 to 100 times. We may, in those trips, have life and have it more abundantly, or we may suffer and relieve suffering, but we will not solve the mysteries. During this spin, God will speak to us in our own voices, and we will make music and pictures and war, and we will cry and cry. And the peoples whose time has not yet come will say we were loved, because that's one of the mysteries that keeps us from killing each other. Reclaimed by nature. I bought a wasted field behind our homestead. It had been a dense pine forest owned by a lumber company. They harvested the trees and left the stumps and branches in piles on mounds of gray dirt between the ruts of the logging trucks. My little Kubota tractor with its 5-foot front-end loader was no match for the waste piles and the deep tire ruts. I needed a big bulldozer and a skilled operator to change this mess into a field for fruit trees and grass for animals. This can be our Leah, our little clearing, our patch of sky in the forest. It's only 6 of 40 acres they cut, but the rest will return to dense forest. By then I'll be dead, and my little patch of sky will be all I needed, and all I could manage with my little Kubota and my old weak body. I sat on the ground in the middle of our tree-covered homestead, the little trimmed pine forest that was once a hayfield. I thought about how quickly the plants take back the land from us. They fill it with quick grasses, and then trees, then animals. I watched the squirrels jump between the trees, and the birds pecking at the ground, and chased into the air by dogs. I'm living just long enough to watch these meaningless changes we have wrought in the span between nature's blooms. Meditation on an Illness by Jennifer McCormick. Jennifer became a diabetic when she was 14 years old, so the poem is actually inspired by those experiences. There's a piece of death inside of me, sometimes a grain of sand and other times larger, and it plows fine rows around my heart, anticipating a rainy season. I have a compass without letters, and when my sweat dries on the glass, death grows keen. It swoops and fixes its claws into my character. Efforts to master it are lost. It's a cozy in my sock drawer, or a child building sandcastles that wash away into the ocean. There's no escape from the known, so I fly my kite in a hurricane with a spider's filament.